What up, though? Welcome to Ask a Bad Boy. Today we got a good one for you. Americans are posting their checks and people can't believe it. All right, let's go.
How much you guys think I make at McDonald's? 2 weeks. I'm a manager. Don't let my shirt fool you. Oh, we don't make shit. Me and my husband were both managers at McDonald's. And for 2 weeks, I only bring home, where's it at? $1,100. That's 2 weeks. So as manager, in a full month of working, I bring in what, 2,400? People are always like, why are you guys so broke? Just our rent alone is $1,500. Our car payment is $500. My car insurance, because I was an irresponsible addict for so long, that's like $400 a month. We live in Phoenix, Arizona. My electric bill is like $200 a month. You guys just add up like our regular bills. We only have like a $300-$400 median after that. We still have to grocery shop, gas, have money to live. We don't, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. My husband makes a little bit more money than I do. Tiny bit. Not much.
I got a serious question. How the is it that I work out in sites like this? Blue collar work, right? We building shit like this. Bottle cans, pipe, backflows, concrete, all this shit. Blue collar work, you know what I'm saying? How the is it that I work in this? And I'm a heavy equipment operator, so that is what I operate. That is another one. But yet, I'm still struggling to live in America. I'm building shit like this. Right now I'm in Kissimmee, Florida, but I'm building shit like this.
That's crazy because it just goes to show you the grass not green on the other sides. On the other side, I literally on my way to work, a lot of times I see construction workers and I always thought they were getting like paid like crazy. So for him to say that just go to show you is everybody going through it. At least majority of people going through it.
Shit like this, dealing with shit like this, digging down on meters and raising the boxes to curb level and everything. How is it that I'm doing heavy labor jobs? Because that's what they say. This is what the old generation says. You got to work hard. You got to get you a good job. This is what they say. Work hard, get you a good job, or pick up a good trade. How is it that I work in something like this and got 6 years of experience in this, make a significant good amount of money when it comes to gross pay, but yet I'm still struggling? And I'm living below my means. I don't have Netflix. I don't have any of that shit, right? Just enough to pay the rent, just enough to pay my insurance on my car, barely can get food. Food stamp says I make way too much. You know what I'm saying? How is it that I live in America working heavy labor, blue collar jobs like this, 6 years of experience, and yet I can't live in America?
This is what I'm struggling with in America right now in my 20s. Why is everything so expensive? Why am I making more money waitressing than I would make using my college degree? I barely have a life. I have 2 days off and I work Wednesday to Sunday, doubling just to pay my bills. At 22 years old, all of my bills are in my name. I have no help. How are y'all affording housing? In Myrtle Beach, a 1-bedroom apartment is $1,500. How are y'all getting insurance, going to the doctor, getting medicine? And then some of us are trying to be TikTok influencers. Who knows where that's going to get me? Me and my boyfriend are saving, but we barely see each other during the week, and it feels like we're working our off for nothing. Do we need to move somewhere for a better job opportunity that we don't know about? Do any of y'all really know what you want to do with your life right now? It is so scary being in America right now.
Hi, you guys. So it's currently, I think, like 8:45.
I wanted the same thing. My brother's trying to get me to move to Dallas. Saying I do a lot better there. I'm in Detroit right now, and it's just tough, tight fight. Let me know in the comments. Would a move change? Would it help things out? Let me know.
I just got home from a shift, and I got my first residency paycheck. So I figured I'd come on camera and open it with you guys. So here goes nothing, I guess. Let's see. They got all these whatchamacallit here. Okay. Okay, so gross earnings is $2,227.68. Net pay is $1,774.26. Not horrible. Is this for 40 hours? I don't know how much this is for. Okay, so it has my hourly rate. My hourly rate is $39.78. I don't know how many hours this is for though in total. So maybe I'll have to do some math or read the email that they sent.
If you kids can't,
forgive me, but I thought doctors made a little more than that. That's good money. But maybe I should stop complaining because I thought doctors made a little more than that. And then it's probably depend on the type of doctor she is too.
comfortably on $20 an hour, you have to be overspending. We got to break this down very quickly to give people perspective into the Gen Z's lives. If you make $20 an hour, that is $40,000 a year. After taxes, that is $2,750. The average one-bedroom apartment and utility is going to run you $2,000. You cannot do that making $20 an hour. So you're going to have to rent with a roommate for about $1,200, and that's being conservative. $500 a month for groceries, which is less than $150 a week. $300 for a student loan payment, which is below average. $300 for a car payment, which is below average. $150 for car insurance, $150 for gas, $100 for personal care, $50 for a cell phone is $2,750. That is.
I like the fact he put the barber thing right there, but with this right here, this explains why we're struggling. I can't make it off of this. This is a tight fight, y'all. Man.
Check to paycheck, leaving you with nothing for savings, investments, the big one, health insurance, because I'm assuming they're under 26 years old, and zero fun. Now, if they were to make $30 an hour, that's $60,000 a year. That's $3,900 after taxes. Maybe they decide to get their own place for $2,000 and everything else stays the same. They're left with $350 a month, which is essentially still paycheck to paycheck. This is the cost of living in America.
I am a flight attendant.
How much were you making as a flight attendant when you started versus now?
When I left my old airline, I was at about 70,000.
Okay.
This time around, as a new hire, I am making about 27,000 before taxes.
What's the
Not as
reason
glamorous
for
as
that?
people
Well,
think
that's
it is.
crazy.
Wow.
New hire pay is one price, and then each year it goes up until you max out at like 12 or 13 years, depending on which
Gotcha.
airline you work for. The company that I'm with hasn't really given a pay raise for a very long time. So we've been in contract negotiations for that.
How do you feel about, going from 70 down to 20?
Depending on the airline that you work for really determines how much you can work. And I was with another airline, I could work a lot more and make a lot more. With my current airline, I'm hindered by a lot of legalities and stuff. So it kind of hinders me from working as much as I would like to.
I've heard that flight attendants don't get paid until the door closes. Is that
We do not
right?
get paid until the door closes and the brake releases. So when we are boarding, we are not being paid. When we
Wow.
sign into work, we are not being paid. When we are sitting in the airports between our flights, we are not being paid. It's not all about the money. Of course, we don't do it for the money. If it would help a lot. But yeah, a lot of people do it for the love of people, the love of traveling, and yeah.
Okay, so I just got off work and I did the calculation today from my job. Let me just cover up my uniform a little bit more.
Yeah, don't get fired.
Of how much money I made per hour. Today, I made $15 an hour. I have been with this company for 8 years. I've been flying as a flight attendant for 6 years, and I made.
You learn something new every day. I did not know flight attendants made that small of an amount of money. No disrespect to the flight attendants, but man, I thought they made way more than that. That's crazy.
$15. Now, mind you, if I lived in the middle of the United States, okay, sure, $15 an hour, fine. I live in Seattle. All of our bases are on the West Coast. $15 an hour. I could go work as a receptionist and work whatever schedule I wanted as a receptionist at a hotel or something and get paid like 23, 24 entry level.
All right, y'all. This is the brother here that used to work at Walmart. He said, I left Walmart after 3 months. My checks never had made it past $1,500 bi-week. That's terrible. That's terrible. I'm sorry the brother had to go through that. That's similar. That reminds me on when I first moved down to Charlotte, I had got on with Walmart. I had got on with Carvana. Carvana was paying me $1,800 every 2 weeks. I went to my boss and told him I'm about to leave. This ain't no money.
I just got paid, so let's open up my paycheck and see how much it is. This is my second paycheck for my new library job. This one should be a full paycheck for a full 2 weeks. The last one was not, so I'm curious to see how much this is. It was supposed to be direct deposit, but there was something like messed up with it. It's a paper check again, going old school. I think my guess is going to be around maybe like $540, $520. Last check was pretty close to a full check, but I think it was missing 1 or 2 days. It is $549.48. So I was almost correct. $549. That means every 2 weeks I will make $550. So I will make $1,100 a month. That is pretty good for part-time. It's only 18 hours a week, but I have 2 like 30-minute breaks that I'm unpaid for. So I only work 17 hours a week. So that's 34 hours for $550. That's not bad.
She is mighty chipper for that money. That just go to show you some people are all right. Some people are content with what they're getting, but she's mighty happy about that. Good for her. Be thankful. Be thankful.
My hourly wage is $17.57 for anybody that's curious. The minimum wage in Connecticut, I think, just went up to $16. Possibly, or $16.50. So I don't make quite much more than minimum wage. So even though I'm making less money per paycheck at this job than I was my retail job, I'm making more per hour. And also the work is nowhere near as like stressful or busy. Like this job is so chill that I am absolutely fine only making $1,100 a month at this job. That is amazing for like the work that I'm actually doing. It still shocks me and I'm still trying to get used to the change of pace. So this is what a normal paycheck is going to be. Hopefully from now on, there'll be direct deposit and I will be back to budget this with you and see how much we can put towards my student loans.
How is everyone affording life? Real question. How are you guys doing it? Because my daycare costs the same as our mortgage, which is just wild to me. And I had a crash out earlier today just about how like really expensive everything really truly is. And I just don't know how you guys are doing it. So I have a corporate 6-figure job. I should be able to afford life. We're not doing anything wrong. Just life is expensive. And I'm the breadwinner in my household. There's this like constant stress, like hanging over my head all the time of you got to make more to provide for your family, especially in this day and age. And it's wild because at the same time, I'm stuck in these corporate handcuffs and I am going through burnout. I don't want to continue doing this. I have like the mental load, hanging over my head. I'm trying to be a good mom, let alone like a good wife, daughter, sister, friend, which I'm failing at all of those things. I feel like.
Not to be in y'all's business or anything, but how much money do y'all make an hour? How much money do y'all make? I just seen this video of this girl. She was like, in this type of economy, there's no way I'm showing up to nobody's job to make less than $15 an hour on a lower scale. That's like on a terrible scale. And one thing about life, yes, people have to be more grateful. We have to do a better job at being thankful for what we already have. But let me tell you something. You know how brutal that is? Nobody wants to show up to a job and work like 40 hours. And half the time, if you're making that type of money, you have to work well over 40 hours for it to even make sense. Because if not, the whole check is going to taxes. And it's crazy because when you don't raise minimum wage, but you have jobs that'll pay you $4 or $5 over the minimum wage, when the minimum wage is already like sinking. When you think of an ocean, like the minimum wage is already underwater. You're dead at that point. But to pay somebody like $4 or $5 right over the minimum wage, just so that they can be able to say they don't make minimum wage, is crazy work in this type of economy. Everybody can't make 6 figures a year. Everybody can't make over 100, 2, 3, 4, 500,000 making that type of money with these types of jobs. But what I do know is to not be able to make the bare minimum, you ain't seeing no extra money out your check. And matter of fact, the only way that you can even see some of your check is if you don't pay no bills. You would have to live off of somebody else.
But if I were to tell you that the United States is a second-rate country, that is LARPing as a first world country. This is a list of the hours needed to escape poverty living on minimum wage. Yes, there's people that make more than minimum wage. Yes, not everybody makes this, but just look at this and like compare it to what kind of life we live here. Japan, you need 11 hours. United Kingdom, 23. France, 26. Like going up to the higher tier.
Wait a minute. You know what's crazy? I glanced at this and thought United Kingdom was us. Wow. We're 13 at 90 hours. Crazy work.
At 44 in Canada. So you might have to work a little bit of overtime every single week. But United States, you need 90 hours. 90 hours of minimum wage work just to escape poverty. Mind you, the poverty line is not that high. I think the poverty line is like $30,000 a year, which I don't even see how the poverty line is like that low, because really, I think if you're making anything less than 40 or 50 anywhere in the United States, you can't really afford a 1-bedroom apartment. And in some places like where I live in the Bay Area, you're talking about probably needing like $50, $60 an hour just to afford a 2-bedroom place, a 1-bedroom place, like comfortably. You cannot tell me that this is the land of the free, that this is the American dream. Like, because whose dream is it to work 2.5 jobs a week?
Quick question to any Americans, between the ages of 35 to 45, especially if you have kids, but even if you don't, how are we affording things? How are you affording anything? And houses and cars, that's not really what I'm talking, but yeah, that. I mean more like, how are you affording gas and groceries and healthcare and utilities and all the other 900 subscriptions that are required to live these days? How are you doing that? I'm assuming you all also are not you're not taking any vacations, and you've like us have just cut out the coffee and the Target shopping and the activities for the kids as much as you can. You've taken away. You've gotten rid of pretty much anything fun. Like, you're not having any more fun. Assuming you're also doing that, how are you living? If you have any tips or tricks, just go ahead and drop them in the comments.
You know what? They keep saying that we're in the age of disclosure, and I think that they're right. But I think we also need to start disclosing something else, like on a personal level. Like, I think more people, especially Americans, need to start disclosing how much they are struggling financially. Like, I made a video yesterday talking about how this is my first job that I've been able to land since November of last year. I'm not full time. That job is not full time. It is $19 an hour. It is 32 hours a week. My lease renewal, I've got my third notification about my lease renewal. I cannot afford to renew this lease, and I also can't afford to move, because if you move, what do you got to do? Deposit, admin fee, application fee, paying for the moving truck, taking time off of work, all this extra stuff that you have to pay for. I cannot afford to do either one. And a lot of people are in this position right now. A lot of people cannot find a job. And it's not because there's just a natural scarcity when it comes to job. It is a manufactured scarcity. They're not hiring anyone. They're cutting 90% of their workforce and getting the remaining 10% to do the work of the other 90%, while not increasing their pay. The cost of everything is going up, but everybody keeps reporting record profits. Nobody can afford to pay their workers a livable wage, but everybody has record profits. But you know who does get paid? The shareholders, who do absolutely nothing for the company. This is the state of the economy, right? Like, this is a reality. This is real. And this is where we all are. It's a lot more people that are just too embarrassed to say. You should never be embarrassed about what this system has done to you.
And there you have it. This is crazy, because this is some of the things I've been saying all along. I've been complaining about them, and I'm about to stop complaining. This is like a wake-up call for me. But I've been saying these things. Is the situation with the last guy, when he mentioned about moving, dealing with that exact same situation as we speak. And he said, don't be embarrassed to disclose this information. But I was taught everything ain't everybody's business. So, you know, a lot of the old school ways people are challenging and changing, and some of them are changing for the better, I must say. Some are not. But I will say, when it comes to moving, I've never got a deposit back. So if you ever got a deposit back, put it in the comments. So he was totally right about that. I totally agree with a lot of the things that were said. Some things was a little iffy. I learned something in this as far as what people are making. And it's kind of like, it's motivation at the same time. It's like, wow, it's not just me. It's not personal. So if you're going through this, if you're struggling right now, it's not personal. Trust me, it's not personal. Majority of us are going through it. And I think this is something that's coming from, it's a strategic plan, but we'll go into that on another podcast. But like I always say, you make sure you try to be the healthiest possible and the wealthiest possible. Focus on yourself, take care of yourself. Let's focus on this money the best way we know how. We know money is not everything, but we got to get out of the struggle bus. And I'm not in the victim Olympics. I have seen some creators or some influencers who are a little out of touch, in my opinion, come on here and say things like you're just not working hard enough. But as you can see, this is going around the whole nation. It's not just because you're not working hard enough. It's something going on here. But like, comment, subscribe. Let's subscribe. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Tell a friend to subscribe. And like I said, if you want to know, ask a bad boy. Let's go.